We're about to start procedures. Let me start by saying that it's a pleasure to be back here. I used to be sitting on this side of the room. I was a student in PUC for 6 years. I did my BA and Master's in International Relations, BA in Social Science and Politics. And it's a pleasure to be back here today. I'd like also to thank Edie, Leticia in particular, and the organizers of this event, and also apologize for not being able to come yesterday. So I just arrived last evening with Karin from Stellenbosch in South Africa. It was a long journey to get here, so I'm slightly jet lagged still. But anyways, I will briefly explain the house rules, how we are going to organize the seminar today, and briefly talk about my own research and how it relates with foreign policy and what is my own view on foreign policy, and then we can move on to the presentations. So today in the table we have Professor Ziming Chen, which is a professor in the Department of Political Science at the University of Montreal. He has a PhD in political science at Yale, and his research interests are on Chinese foreign policy, Chinese domestic politics, security issues in Asia, and international relation theory. So it's a wide range of subjects that you cover. He's the author of a number of journal articles, and we are looking forward to your presentation. Karin Smith, Dr. Karin Smith is a lecturer at the University of Stellenbosch, and I had the pleasure to participate in a seminar 2 days ago, if I'm not wrong. I'm still a bit confused, on emerging powers and redistribution in global politics, how the concept of distributive justice is still essential to understand the foreign policy of developing countries. And I'd like to speak briefly about this in a minute. Our discussion today is Dr. André de Mello Souza, who used to be assistant professor here in the Institute of International Relations, and now is based on IPEA, the Institute of Research in Applied Economics. We have also third presenter, who's sitting in the first row out there, Dr. Jaime Preciado Coronado, who is professor in the Department of Iberic Studies and Latin American Iberic Studies at the University of Guadalajara. He's a member of the National System of Researchers, yes, and co-editor of the journal Estudios sobre Estado y Sociedad, and visiting professor in the Universidad Jesuita de Guadalajara. He holds a doctorate in Latin American Studies at Sorbonne, and his research interests include globalization, integration, democracy, geopolitics, and international relations. So, without further delay, I would like to briefly mention a few points on what is my own take on foreign policy and some aspects of foreign policy that I think we're going to cover here today. My research on international relations is oriented towards an understanding in which foreign policy is system-generated rather than only actor-generated. So, and I try to understand what the main features that define the South in world politics. And if the structural feature of the North-South divide have an impact on the foreign policy of developing countries, in particular 3 of them, South Africa, India, and Brazil. So I've been looking at the IBSA partnership, And my main concept, or the concept I've been looking at lately, is the concept of distributive justice. And I try to make the case that it's a permanent feature of the South since the creation of the non-aligned movement up to Ipsa Briggs in a discussion about the North-South divide in the 21st century. So it has different there's different ways to look at this concept, but I think it is a permanent structural aspect of the North-South divide which still influences the foreign policy of developing countries. But it's not only, and it's not sufficient to look only to those structural features, but also to domestic aspects, and that is the contribution that I think our presenters will give to us here today. Karin will look at issues related with national identity and how they also help to frame the foreign policy of countries, and South Africa in particular, and how and this is one of my concerns as well, one of my interests, how in multicultural societies you can define the national interest of a state and its foreign policy. I think we have a very interesting panel where we cover a number of countries, and those issues will come up, I'm sure, on our debates, both the actor-generated aspects of foreign policy and the system-generated aspects of foreign policy as well. And I will ask Professor Jiming to start with your presentation. You have 20 minutes, okay?
I thought it was 30.
Yeah, 30 is fine.
Well, because I prepared for 30.
Yeah,
all right.
No problem. And then Karin will follow with also 30 minutes. And maybe Andrea will have slightly less time to discuss the papers. After this first block, we have Professor Jaime, who will present his paper, and Monica will discuss your presentation. And then we open to the audience to provide your thoughts, insights on the presentations, and the reply from the presenters. Okay, Professor Zemin.